as I said, then we begin with, in the first part, some general overview of the project and what's possible. We do some exploring, we do some reading to learn a little bit about the context in which the explorations can be productively seeded. As I said, the required course readings will help us further contextualize, but it's just something else worth looking at. In the second step, which we're beginning soon, and the pitch is what we'll start with, and then we will kind of further define and redefine by collecting and then deciding on what might be productively included in our essay. In the previous video, I showed you what it looks like, what it could look like through Flickr, and I mentioned that there are other possibilities, and there most certainly are, using more text perhaps to tell your story in using models like that include both captions and extended duration, like the Conrad and Westhaver's book and Richard Wright's 12 Million Black Voices that we're reading for this week 3. So it will, as I said, be important to keep track of your media. So as you find it in the digital collections, as you find it in one of the public domain sites that I'm going to share with you, as you find it in your own collections, you really need to keep track of it. It is really, it will drive you crazy how many places these things will end up, and if you really do need to have them on hand. And I'm saying this as someone who is not naturally organized and not someone that is attendant to those details. When you're working with media, it is crucial. One of the most frustrating aspects of composing with new media for me is searching for materials while you're in the composing process. So in this phase, you're deciding and you're collecting. You're not actually composing in the traditional sense of putting the stuff together, but you are in your head and maybe on paper sketching out where you're going with it. I don't do well with this. You should really see my desk when I'm in the midst of a project. But trust me, you do not want to go looking for source materials. Even more importantly, your computer needs to know where they are as you bring them into the editing platform. Programs like Movie Maker and iMovie don't actually bring the media into your program when you think you're bringing it. It just sort of maps it to where it exists on your computer. So if you were to then take that project elsewhere to work on it, it's not going to know where to find it. It's still going to be looking for it on your hard drive at home, even though you're up at the school on one of the computers in the library, for example. And so it can't see it. It doesn't know what it's doing. And so when it reloads your movie, you're going to end up with a bunch of X's where you used to have images and audio and video. So think about that if you were doing video, but it's going to be the case with your photo essay as well. You just need to know where it is. So it is important to create folders so you can be consistent about where you store your media. And I'm, of course, suggesting Dropbox, though there are many other suggestions. Think about a file structure, maybe something, this is a common one. You put all of your media together in a folder called Media and then have subfolders where you can organize your images, your audio, and your video. In this case, you know, again, a different view, media, and in that media folder includes your 3 different kinds of media. For the most part, you're going to be just collecting images. So think about that as you work with that. Keep track of your media by making careful use of Dropbox. Once you have a potential topic, create a folder in Dropbox where you can store the materials you find, and warm up Zotero if you're using it to keep track of relevant references. Really important, don't lose the citation information. That's really important. Label the main folder media or something like that. You place your source materials here, create subfolders within the main folder according to type. As I said, of course, you're creating a photo essay, so you can expect to be making extensive use of photos. It is important that you pay attention to the file extension because your programs are largely only going to be able to work with JPEGs and GIFs. And the JPEGs is the most portable. With your photo essay, you'll have a little bit more access or a little bit more flexibility, but be careful with that. Think about that. So, and there's a YouTube tutorial about how to save your images within here, and that's also in your the Webliography. So